prince, grandfather, mentor, the most respected member of the seawing royal family, and one of the most iconic antagonists of the Wings of Fire fandom, Albatross. Every fanwing that has been with this fandom since and after the publication of Darkstalker Legends knows that Albatross has caused the Royal Seawing Massacre, one of the most devastating events in Peria history. And it's also common knowledge among the community that the reason he did this is because he was driven into insanity. But strangely enough, little to no info has been given regarding the very source that resulted in his so-called insanity. Animus magic. Albatross is the first seawing animus. Why? In this video, we're going to look into Albatross's life, his siblings, and most importantly, the origin of this top-tier antagonist. Albatross's character has been one of the fandom's ultimate interest ever since Darkstalker Legends came out in June 28th, 2016. He was commonly known as the Wretched Killer under a picture-perfect mask. In the story, Albatross was the brother and assistant of the queen of that time, Queen Lagoon. However, they have a third sister called Sapphire, who was kept separately from the rest of the family, visited by Lagoon from time to time. Now, interestingly enough, if you go on Wings of Fire Wiki, you can find a family tree showing the relations of all the royal seawing members of Albatross's time. Now, from the tree, it can be inferred that Albatross, Lagoon, and Sapphire are indeed siblings. However, the tree only shows a small section of the royal family line, meaning what comes before and after this section is unknown to us. Who then comes before Albatross? Unfortunately, it remained a mystery till this day. But looking at Darkstalker Legends, there seem to be some interesting findings. In the book, Albatross was the victim of his sister's mockery due to his different physical appearance, such as his scales being a different color, weird-looking tail, awkward swimming postures, and etc. Therefore, it can be inferred that Lagoon and Sapphire didn't have these physical traits, neither were they used to seeing such traits in the seawing tribe. Albatross has pale, almost white-grayish scales, while seawing scales are much darker, ranging from blue or green to indigo. Albatross has a weird-looking tail, while seawing tails are described to be thick and powerful. Albatross swims awkwardly, while seawings are literally the best swimmers of the continent. All of these examples illustrate that Albatross is basically the odd one out of the tribe. Perhaps so are his ancestors. Yet, unique physical features isn't solid evidence proving Albatross's predecessors are just as different as him. Considering genetic variation is a complex and spontaneous process, unique, interesting physical traits can sometimes be explained by a possible variations in appearance or by possible birth defects, which means that anyone in the seawing tribe could be born with a rare feature like Albatross. But this possibility can be eliminated by another factor: Albatross's animus magic. Keep in mind, the only natural way for a dragon to get animus magic is through the passing of genes from forebears who are possessors or carriers of such power. But Albatross is the first seawing animus, meaning before him and his sisters on the royal seawing family tree, no one could be an animus. Yes, but no. It was not until in a book event in 2016 did the author of Wings of Fire, T. Sutherland, drop something crucial into the mess that was the controversy regarding Albatross's heritage. Something that would later become the backbone of successfully solving the Albatross origin mystery. Albatross has relations from more than one tribe. In fact, Tui confirmed that Albatross has ancestries from the Icelings. I wasn't able to find the exact words that Tui said, considering it was a long time ago, and there probably isn't any recorded evidence. But coming from the author herself, this is probably by far the most authoritative information. And considering all of Albatross's peculiar physical traits mentioned earlier, it makes sense. The reason why animus magic completely defied the widespread belief of it being a genetic condition in Albatross's case is because it didn't. It's because Albatross is not a seawing. He is a seawing of intertribal descent. No seawing before him could be an animus, which means that at some point in the past, a dragon from a different tribe must be involved in some way. A dragon from a tribe that has animus magic before the seawings. An icewing. More specifically, an icewing with animus blood. Therefore, it can be concluded that Albatross's unique physical features are not likely to be the result of variation within a seawing tribe, but because he has icewing ancestry. But wait, now is when it gets more interesting. Though it's already confirmed that Albatross isn't pure seawing, we have yet to consider something puzzling. Despite Albatross's origin is now explained, the differences between Albatross and his sisters Lagoon and Sapphire remain unresolved. As we talked about before, the sisters are ordinary looking seawings, but this is the problem. Being Albatross's sister, meaning Lagoon and Sapphire literally share the same parents with Albatross. If Albatross had icewing traits, why didn't they? This is a highly controversial topic in the Wings of Fire fandom. People came up with all sorts of ideas regarding this question, attempting to debunk this long-held mystery. Some people think Albatross is a potential hybrid whose parents got into an affair with an icewing animus, while others believe that he could be the result of an animus enchantment. The list goes on. What could possibly be the reason behind this? What leads to Tui specifically claiming that Albatross has icewing ancestry while leaving Lagoon and Sapphire out? The book specifically stated that Albatross was from the same hatching as Lagoon, which means that they hatched almost at the same time, so there couldn't possibly be room for an affair with a third parent to create the physical difference. So then, why is Albatross different? The thing is, we don't need a third party. Because this is where my theory comes in. The reason why Albatross differs from his sisters is because of genetic variation. Although genetic variation doesn't explain why Albatross differs from other seawings, it does when it comes to Lagoon and Sapphire. The book didn't mention that Sapphire is from the same clutch as Albatross and Lagoon, but that doesn't matter. The difference between Albatross and Lagoon is already sufficient evidence for genetic variation. Both dragons share the same parents, both dragons from the same hatching, meaning equal chance for Albatross and Lagoon to get icewing traits. Yet, considering these possible traits came from a distant ancestor with probably multiple generations in between, the likelihood of getting these traits is reduced to the extent of perhaps only 1 in 20 or even 50. Albatross just happens to be that one in many. As for Albatross being the very first seawing animus, remember, genetic variation is a complex and spontaneous process. The chance of a dragon in the animus bloodline actually getting animus magic is a completely randomized thing. In Darkstalker Legends, you have 8, if excluding Indigo's 7 dragonets that's part of the animus bloodline, while only Fathom turn out to be an animus. During the present times, you have over 30 of them in the animus bloodline, while only Turtle and Orca are actually animine. Therefore, since it can be inferred that animus magic is an uncommon trait even among families with animus bloodline, it's unsurprising for Albatross to be the first ever seawing animus, because the gene that codes for animus magic simply wasn't expressed for previous members of the bloodline as well as his sisters. This is why animus magic skipped generations and ultimately ended up with Albatross, deeming him as the first ever seawing animus.